Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm Paradoxic, and welcome back to the Umbrella Academy. Back after a long while, but we are back with it. And we are continuing with this show. Now on to episode 3 of season 2, titled The Swedish Job. Last time, what did we have? We had the Frankel footage, and the Frankel footage was the footage taken by people who were present at the assassination of JFK, and not the only people there. Diego and Five were investigating that footage and found that a younger version of Reginald Hargreaves, their dad, was also present there. He was present in top hat and long coat and umbrella and everything. So he was there. So they figured that that they could actually track him down and see what was going on with him. And he was prepared. I think he knew that they were following him, or at least he knew that he would be followed in some fashion. So he was prepared. He kind of left his place of work somewhat deserted and empty, and he fought off Diego. Diego tracked him down and he fought him off. But then Diego got distracted by seeing his face for the first time, and then that gave Reginald the chance to literally just shank him with a shiv, and then that happened, and then now Diego was left bleeding out on the ground. So hopefully that's nothing too serious. So he was doing that, and then Five found a young Pogo. We have Pogo back in like young Pogo form. So he wasn't talking much or anything, but he was inside one of the rooms, and Five found him. So then he attacked Five, and then ran off to rendezvous with Reginald with Reginald, and then they walked off after he defeated Diego. So Reginald has already got his kicks in. He's already got his kind of his stuff in motion. So he's out with Pogo. So that was that, and then we had Luther hunting down Vanya. He found Vanya picking up the guy, the husband of Missy, who always goes to the pub late at night and stuff. So he or the strip joint. He found him, and he found his wallet. The guy dropped his wallet, so he found that, and then he tracked down the address. But then he saw Vanya was actually picking it up. But then Vanya having amnesia, she didn't really react to him that much. So he tracked her down with a gun. He had a revolver or a pistol of his own. So he tracked her down, and then found out afterwards that Vanya actually confessed to him, like, I'm sorry if I hurt you, but I don't really remember anything from before the accident, so I don't know who you are, but if I did anything to hurt you, then I'm sorry. But then Luther confessed that he actually might be the one that hurt everyone, because he was just trying to be the good guy and just trying to do the right thing and stuff. So then Missy found him in the end, threatening with like a gun behind him. She saw the gun behind him, and then she came up with an even bigger gun, a rifle, a hunting rifle. So he somewhat talked to Vanya. And then so that happened. We had that happening. So Diego and Five, and Luther and Vanya, and all that stuff. And then Allison, her husband was arrested by the police after the guy whose ass she kicked reported them to the police, and then he was arrested. And I think he caught wind. He caught wind of her actually telling, or like almost very nearly using her powers on the policeman, and actually asked her, why did you say you heard a rumor? Like, he caught that kind of off speech at the end. So he was curious, but him being in jail, they didn't really have much time to communicate and whatnot. So that was a very, very brief conversation. And then she caught wind of Klaus being there, because the one guy who was following Klaus's cult had the hello and goodbye written on his hand. So she caught wind of that. And then we saw Klaus is actually I think he's at the house. I think he's actually at the actual kind of Hargreaves house, like way back when it was like, it looks a lot more deserted. There's like pieces of like sheets all over the furniture. There's like that one painting you might recognize and stuff. So him and Ben are chilling out there. So we got all that stuff going on, and then I think right at the beginning we saw that there's actually a new handler at the agency. There's a new handler. The handler played by Kate Walsh last season. She came back to life, even with the gunshot wound to the head. She came back to life, but then the time that she was dead definitely had some stuff take place. So she was demoted and moved down to Five's original position, and then that happened. And then the new handler is AJ, the guy who's literally a fish in a human body, a fish in a bottle for a head and a human body for a body. So a lot of stuff happened. But we are moving forward ever so slightly. So yeah, that is pretty much all I've got for the second episode. I think if I feel the need to do a big recap, because it's been so long since I've actually done a reaction for this, unintentionally, but nevertheless we're back. So moving forward, episode 3, the Swedish job. This will be the highlight reel. So if you guys want the full-length reaction, the full-length watch-along for this episode, that will be over on Patreon, so you can go check that over there. But yeah, that is this, episode 3, the Swedish job. Let's go.
The hell happened to my clothes?
I said don't move.
Ooh. She did say don't move. Yeah, that's enough to pass him out, yeah. Oh, no, Vanya, keep going. Don't trust the milkman. Do not trust these milkmen. They've got a lot more than milk up their sleeves. Nuh-uh. That's blood on his jacket. That's blood on his jacket. Yeah, just run. Oh, is that a wheat field? Is that a cornfield? Is that a cornfield? Oh, it's a cornfield. God damn it. I don't trust cornfields after Outlast 2. No. Oh, her powers. Yes, her powers. Her white noise powers. Yes. There we go. Oh, that is cool. That is super cool.
My bad.
Dipshit.
Oh, jeez.
Alright.
Okay.
Carry on.
Kids in the 60s are mean. Okay. Noted.
Look, you can either stay here and wait for the IKEA Mafia to come, or you can come with me.
Yeah, IKEA Mafia.
Why are they trying to kill me?
IKEA Mafia sounds more badass than milkmen. than milkmen, yeah.
No.
And she's found Klaus. She's found Klaus at the house. Klaus is at the house.
Klaus, you started a cult.
Cult is a very negative word. So I prefer to call it an alternative spiritual community.
So a cult.
You definitely started a cult.
Yeah.
All right. Enough about me. What about you? What have you been up to?
I haven't used my power since...
I heard.
Oh, since Vanya
I couldn't
killed her.
speak for a year.
Yeah, since Vanya killed her. The pet store? What's she gonna get? I can imagine her with a chihuahua. I can picture her with a chihuahua. What did she tell him that made him piss himself? Did she tell him she came back to life after being killed or something, or what? Oh, she wants those pearls. She wants those pearls.
We will continue to fight for equality, even in the face of persecution. With or without Ray. Because we're ready. All in favor.
She gives a damn good speech. Free chestnut or die. Oh. Invisible. Oh, it must be Ben. Oh, Klaus sent Ben there. Yeah. Okay. That's a nice one on Ben. Yeah.
You're my brother-in-law.
What?
Yeah, man. Family barbecues are about to get real weird. Later.
Leave the pot there.
Live, you little shit.
You gonna tell me what the hell's going on?
What causes the apocalypse?
The first one, kind of... you.
Asteroid impact.
That's a better way of putting it, yeah.
Everything.
It's okay, babe. Harlan, stop!
Oh, Harlan, come on.
Stop it!
It's okay. Oh! Ah, he's a biter. Oh, okay.
I'm happy you found your real family.
5.
Don't have time for this.
That's my friend you just hung up on.
Listen to me. Those people from the field are coming after us.
Oh, right in the knife wound.
He cheap shotted me.
You got distracted and he took advantage of that.
Man, that son of a bitch wouldn't stand a chance.
That's something he would teach you to do. Take advantage of them when they're distracted.
I thought you were dead. That's how I found my parents. Face down in the living room. It was a home invasion.
Oh. Layla.
What do you think you're doing?
I don't understand you!
I'm pretty sure that was an invitation to kiss her. Or perhaps it was. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was. Oh, ooh, ooh, yeah. Knife wound, knife gash, yeah. Okay, stab wound, okay. Okay. Okie dokie then. It's a very useful window. Very useful window. Is he really? Is that jelly? Oh. Yes, that's gotta be jelly, right? That is jelly. Is that tuna jelly? Or is that something else?
Allison told me that she had family up north, but she never mentioned a brother.
Okay,
And
so
she
he did.
certainly never mentioned a brother who looked like you.
Yeah.
I guess we haven't been that close lately. It's so great.
Oh, jeez. Well, is she not here? Or is she doing the sit-in? Is she still out organising the sit-in? Yeah, here comes the sit-in. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, this does give me anxiety, but it's a good cause. It's a good, super important cause, you know? So, yeah. Peaceful, completely non-violent protest for an important cause.
Dave? Yeah, that's what it says on my name tag. Yeah.
Dave? Oh, the war days. Oh, like from last season, the war, when he was transported back to the war. Yeah, okay.
Then maybe I can convince him not to sign up to that stupid war and maybe I can save
Oh,
his life.
before, yeah, okay. Vietnam was after this.
God
Okay, yeah.
damn it.
Yeah. Yeah, to be honest, Vietnam wasn't the war I was thinking of either. No, so I'm wrong on that front too. So
Just
he's.
promise me you can handle this.
So he wants to save Dave before he actually, you know, goes off to Vietnam then. But then that would mean that he never meets him.
Oh shit, Allison.
That would mean he never meets him. Oh yeah, the sit-in. The sit-in. Oh yeah, it's getting violent.
That's the limit.
Oh, scalding hot coffee. Oh, damn, you son of a bitch. Ah. No, don't do anything to Ray. Oh, no. Oh, no, no. Oh, she's gonna have to rumor them.
I heard a rumor.
Ah.
You walked away.
There we go. Yeah, she has to use her power. Now Ray's gonna witness that. Ray's gonna witness it. And now he's gonna have a lot more questions.
No, I can't. Come on, right now.
No, Ray, go with them, Ray. Oh.
Hit me when you feel pain. When you feel the pain.
Oh, jeez, Luther, you are a broken man.
Give me everything you got!
Oh, right off the ground. Oh. Oh, jeez. Pig's ear? Wait, does that say pig's ears? They sell pig's ears? Not the whole pig? What animals eat pig's ears? What animals eat pigs besides humans? No? Oh yeah, she's got the pearls. 217. She's got the pearls. The key, even. Does she know the handler? Does Lila know the handler?
Of course. You deserve it.
Thanks, Mum.
Ma. What? So her mum, wait. So she didn't lose her parents to a home invasion? Okay, that's confusing. That's ever so slightly confusing. So she didn't lose her parents to a home invasion. Or maybe she just lost her dad to one. Or maybe the home invasion thing is a cover up, a cover of some kind. I don't know. Okay, so yeah, not only does she apparently know the handler, she also has a very, very much closer relation to her than we actually would have guessed. So, I mean, well, because I mean, a much closer relationship to her than non-comic readers like myself would have guessed, because I mean, yeah, I know the Umbrella Academy itself is like a comic book, or at least like a series of graphic novels of some kind, so people who have read those or know about the comics in any way would probably know exactly what kind of character reveals and storylines that the TV show would be adapting, but for viewers like myself, it would be, just, completely out there, just unknown, unbeknownst to us, so yeah, so the handler is her mother. The handler is her mother. Okay, that raises questions, without a doubt. That definitely raises questions. So yeah, so then, so I think if that's the case, then either I think, well, yeah, I mean, yeah, the chances of I mean, yeah, I think that then means that her having lost her parents to a home invasion is just a cover, and maybe even her being like a patient of that psych hospital might just be a cover too. Like her, the handler could have planted her there, knowing that Diego would be there, or that knowing one of the family would be there. Like, or maybe as soon as the handler found out that a member of the Hargreaves would have been admitted there, then she planted Lila there too. So. Yeah, I mean, well, does that mean that her name is even Lila? Like how much of her story up to now has been a cover? Like, is her name Lila? I mean, the home invasion stuff, most likely a cover. Her being a patient there, most likely a cover. But then her name too, maybe a cover. Like, everything she's told us so far is what she's told Diego. So all of that could just be her mother giving her info to help build up her cover story. So yeah, So yeah, I mean, well, yeah, I mean, it was in the, I mean, yeah, so that she died. So I mean, the handler died when Hazel killed her. In the other hotel room, and then it took 3 months for her to actually come back to life. So in those 3 months, I don't know what portion of the timeline that those 3 months would take place, but in that 3 months, a lot changed. Like, she was demoted, the fish guy became the new handler. So. Yeah, so then I think it must have been once she came back and once she figured out that that the Hargreaves and Five especially actually travelled back to the 1960s. It must have been once she found that out that she actually decided to actually do some intervening of her own and actually send her daughter back there too to actually spy on one of them, and knowing that Diego would be maybe once she found out that Diego was there. Was admitted to the psych hospital, then she actually sent Lila there too. So she planted Lila there as a patient, and then that stuff went down. So I think so Lila might just be using Diego. Then she might just be, at this point now pounding him for information. Maybe. Oh, Lila. I liked her. I liked her up until now. Up until I found out she was actually just with the handler. I mean. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, the handler, I think, I was trying to remember, like, did the handler do much that was bad last season, but then she was controlling Hazel and Cha-Cha. And she was kind of antagonizing Five last season, so she is, like, an antagonist. She's an antagonistic character, and even in this season, she clearly is holding a grudge against Five for the demotion, and against Hazel for having killed her, and also, her having been demoted so much, which, I mean... It raises the question of how she was able to leave those offices and actually come out to Dallas, Texas, and actually be here instead of actually back at the offices doing the work that Five was meant to be doing and the post she was given. But I mean, she's the handler, or she's a former handler, so she has connections, she has ways, she has methods of doing things. So it's very likely that she did what she could outside of that office too. She still found her daughter. She planted her in the hospital to spy on Diego and to do all sorts of other stuff. So yeah, I mean, we haven't really got much. I think it might be somewhat early to actually determine exactly what Lila is doing and what orders the handler is giving her, because the only information we have as of right now is the fact that the handler is in fact her mum. So from that we can kind of deduce that so likelihood is she didn't lose her parents in a home invasion. That's a cover. her existence as a fellow patient at that hospital was also a cover, and maybe her name probably isn't even Lila. But either way, like the most we know for now is that her mother is the handler, and that she's now meeting up with her for the first official. I mean, it's the first time we see. I mean, up until now, what we've seen from her, she's been hanging out with Diego. We haven't really seen her this wasn't even a reveal that was teased. This wasn't even a teased reveal. Like we haven't seen her actually telling Diego, okay, I'm gonna go somewhere and then be back soon. Like we haven't seen her leaving Diego's side up until now. We haven't seen her going anywhere. Like there's been no mysterious exits and then reappearances later on. No kind of hush visits to anyone in particular. So this is the first time we've seen her. This is the first time we've seen her even try and visit her mother in any way, so we don't know if there's been any other way for her to contact her, or if this is actually her first kind of visit to her after having been actually sent into the field by the handler. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. So the most we know as of now, the most we know for sure is that the handler is her mum. So, yeah, but that's a hell of a reveal. So, yeah, that is Lila. So, I mean, no point going over that history now since it's all most likely a pile of BS, but... Or maybe, I don't know, maybe it's not. I mean, she called her mum, but, I mean, the handler could have adopted her. Ah, yeah, so maybe the handler took her in. So maybe she still lost her parents to a home invasion. But then the handler found her and took her in. Maybe like she saw potential or something. Because I think Lila, she said she's never even mentioned it to anybody. She never losing her parents to a home invasion isn't something she's talked about to anybody before. So I mean, yeah. So then the point then still would stand that the handler actually sent Lila in to spy on Diego and to use him and all that stuff. But then there's still no. Yeah, for all we know, the handler could have adopted her. She could have actually taken her in after she lost her parents or when she found her whenever. So Lila could still have that backstory. She could have still lost her parents to that, but I don't know. Yeah, two possible theories. Either it's all a lie or it still happened and she was adopted by the handler. So yeah, I didn't even consider that until now. Maybe she was adopted by her. Maybe she's not actually her birth mother. I mean, it would make more sense if she was actually adopted by her. Yeah, okay. Huh. Okay, then that would make just as much sense. So yeah, I guess we'll have to find out. I guess we'll have to wait and find out. So yeah, so the episode opened with Klaus and Ben having landed in Texas in the alleyway, and then they went to the restaurant. And Klaus, I mean, he wasn't, they didn't have any kind of racial opposition to him, but he still looked homeless, and he smelled too much for them to actually cater to in terms of any kind of service. So they kicked him out because of that. And then he found that woman. I don't know who that woman was, that old lady who actually picked him up outside the restaurant. I don't know who that was, but whoever she was, him and Ben went along with her, and then he performed some magic tricks. He used Ben to lift him up Dirty Dancing style into the air, and then he performed some tricks for them. And then from there, from 60 to 63, Klaus performed tricks and trades and whatnot, and he started a cult. He started that cult, and even Allison recognized, you did kind of start a cult. I mean, him even kind of trying to paint it as, a group that, like, I mean, he said, like, what did he call it? Like a group that, like a group that believes in spiritual something, or like some kind of spiritual existence thing. I mean, it basically is a cult, especially towards the end, like when they were in India and San Francisco. It definitely did kind of look like a cult. Like, he is definitely the father of the cult, and they're showering him with flowers and love and affection. And even when they were in San Francisco, like, him being surrounded by like circles of his followers and everything, he basically started a cult. So in true Klaus fashion, he starts a cult, and then he leaves them, with no explanation. And then the one bald guy with the glasses that he had in his cult, he actually did meet him back up again in the jail. So I'm surprised the guy didn't bring him up. Like, oh, I was there at one of your little gatherings, and then you just disappeared on us all of a sudden. Where did you go? And I'm surprised he didn't really mention that, but I don't know, maybe one of the beliefs he instilled in them was that the leader can leave whenever the fuck he wants and not come back if that's what he desires. So yeah, that was cool. But we also had Allison finding Klaus, Allison tracking him down to the to be Hargreaves' mansion, to be Hargreaves' mansion with the pool and everything. He was in the pool. I like that scene. That was a really, really sweet scene. I think, because when you think like this kind of show, like, you know, especially in season 1, like you don't really get definitive kind of you know, you don't get the same exact relationship between each and every family member, which is realistic and it's cool and it's actually, it makes sense, and it's cool to see which member is more connected to which member and which one has the more closer or more distant relationship. Like, you know, like Luther and Diego get along well. Klaus and Five get along reasonably well. Allison and Vanya had their issues, but in the end they tried to get along really well, right up until the and everything. But seeing Klaus and Allison, like they're not siblings that we saw very much in interaction between back in the first season. So seeing them actually reminiscing in a positive and shining way in this one, like, you know, her talking about how she's a civil rights organizer and him trying to defend his cult in this one, like it's a sweet scene where they're actually talking and actually reminiscing and getting to be with each other again. So that's cool. So yeah, I think in this season especially, like, you know, given how they all got separated and staggered across the timeline, it's cool to see all of them, like, slowly but surely actually reuniting again, actually catching up with each other again and meeting up again. So yeah, I look forward to the actual, you know, the episode where they're all actually together in one room, actually talking about the apocalypse and, you know, doing stuff in pure Hargreaves sibling fashion. So yeah, so Allison found Klaus and that was cool. We had Vanya. Vanya was being hunted by the milkmen, or at least as how Five so eloquently dubbed them as the IKEA Mafia. The IKEA Mafia. So yeah, I mean, I didn't even know they were Swedish. I mean, the episode is called The Swedish Job. I didn't really, you know, put 2 and 2 together and actually think that they were Swedish. I don't know what I thought they were. Yeah, I mean, he said that they were Swedish, but I don't think we ever actually heard them talk. But even if they did, I don't know if I would actually, you know, recognize Swedish, because I don't speak Swedish, so I don't know. I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't know why, but I thought, you know, I think Scandinavian would have been one of my guesses. I don't know why, but again, like, we've never heard them talk, so there's been no, besides from them being white Europeans, there's never much of like a guessing on my mind as to, you know, what region or what region they're from or what dialect they might speak. But yeah, but apparently they're Swedish. So yeah, apparently they're the IKEA Mafia. But they have been sent by the agency. They were sent by the agency. So that much is clear. And they almost caught on to Vanya before chasing her into a cornfield. And she used her powers. Vanya used her powers. I'm surprised there was no kind of further talking about that. Like, she didn't really mention that to Five either. Like, Five, like, you know, like she even saw the extent of her power usage. Like, there's like that great big kind of almost crop circle with a really dark kind of epicenter that showcased her having used her powers to blast all the guys back, but she never really mentioned that to him. I mean, I don't know if she didn't remember it, but I mean, I figured, you know, if she saw the blast zone, then she definitely should have remembered. Like, she should have remembered, you know, using her powers to melt the bullet and actually send them all flying back and everything. But then even Five, remember, like, Five mentioned everything to her. Five mentioned everything from the apocalypse to being family and the new apocalypse coming now. Like, he mentioned all that stuff to her, but he never mentioned that he had actually witnessed her powers firsthand. He never really mentioned that much. So I'm surprised that they didn't actually address it, given that, you know, it's been so many years, it's been so long since she actually used her powers and stuff like that. So yeah, and she never, and like, despite him mentioning that he's family and all this stuff, she never really mentioned the fact that she's been having some weird flashbacks here and there. I mean, I think with Vanya though, like, given that for one thing, she's had amnesia, and for another thing, she hasn't really known anyone for the past, you know, for the past couple of years, besides from Missy and Harlan. Is her name Missy? I think it is Missy, right? And in my mind, I say Missy, but then internally I correct myself and say Sissy. I think I'm pretty sure it's Missy. So yeah, so like besides from them, she's not really known anyone. Like, you know, like, even the episode before, she was tracked down by a guy, you know, claiming to have known her, and then apologizing to her. Like, she doesn't really know like how many people she can trust, and just because, you know, some, you know, literal 10-year-old looking kid or like some 13-year-old comes up to her talking about the apocalypse and family and stuff. Like I think she doesn't know fully whether to trust him, but he seems to be the only one who knows what's going on and why, like, you know, like who could actually possibly be able to explain all this stuff she's experiencing, but she doesn't fully know whether she can trust him or not enough to actually tell him everything she's been going through. So I guess that could be one element of it, but yeah, but they were hanging out in this episode and they tracked down Luther, and then Luther tracked down Allison. I thought he was gonna go back and track down Vanya. I thought he was gonna try and have like a second shot, having like a second chance at having a conversation with her, but this time without any, you know, armed guns, any actual, you know, stocked up guns or anything like that. So yeah, but no, he was actually looking for Allison. I think finding Vanya kind of gave him the feeling that, you know, more of his family could be here as well. So then he wanted to find Allison, and yeah, the guy, his boss found her. His boss found Allison, home address and all. That kind of creeps me out. The fact that, I mean, yeah, that kind of creeps me out. The fact that he actually found her home address and all. Like, who did he actually contact to actually find out where Allison lives? I don't know. Maybe like the police or something. Because I don't know. I mean, yeah, given the time period this is set in, I'm kind of thinking that, you know, maybe the police would have information that would be outside of people's comfort zones and whatnot. But yeah, but he found it. He found her address. He found her home address, and that's not all he found. He also found Raymond Chestnut. He found Allison's dear, sweet, chivalrous husband. So yeah, I'm glad he didn't mention he was an ex. I'm glad he did not go down the path of saying, "Oh yeah, I am somewhat her ex." And I think the fact that he still kind of recognizes himself as her ex, given the fact that they are basically adoptive brother and sister, is definitely irks me the wrong way. Definitely irks me the wrong way. Like, they honestly, even in the first season, I was kind of confused that there was even any kind of romance or love story between them anyway. Because again, they're adoptive, but they were still raised to be family. They were still raised to be brothers and sisters along with each other. They weren't raised to be future husbands and wives to each other. They were definitely raised to be family. So the fact that, you know, they grow up to have some kind of potential love in the future definitely irks me in the wrong way. And even him, you know, mentioning to his boss that, you know, Allison is somewhat sort of like an ex. Like, dude, come on. She's like, deep down, she is your sister. She's your sister. So, you know, that's the best, that's the cleanest way to approach this. But yeah, but then he meets Ray, and he just gobbles down on the box of chocolates he brought for Allison. So he just kind of stress eats his way down that rabbit hole, and then he finds out that they're married and sees the pictures and everything like that. So yeah, and then afterwards he goes back to fight, but he can't fight. He does not have it. He doesn't have it in him anymore after that conversation, after that day he has had. He does not have it in him anymore to fight. He doesn't have it in him anymore to actually throw any more punches. He wants to feel the punches. He wants to feel the physical pain he's feeling along with the mental and, you know, heartfelt pain and everything. So he wants his opponent to actually beat the crap out of him with one final foot swiping punch, uppercut punch that knocks him on his feet and everything. So yeah, so that was that. So his boss isn't going to be happy. His boss ain't going to be too happy about that. He lost that fight. The one fight he said he needed him good for, he actually ended up losing to. So his boss is going to have some words about that. But yeah, so Luther ain't doing so good. Luther is not doing so good. But Ray, I commend Ray. Ray kind of somewhat kept his composure. He still showed up to the sit-in. And the sit-in gave me a lot of anxiety. I'm not gonna lie. Like, having studied, you know, the civil rights movement in school history and everything, and having, you know, known about the sit-ins, it definitely gave me anxiety knowing that, you know, despite the fact that black people did fight as peacefully as they could, just sitting there doing nothing, just making their voices being heard, but then also being lashed out at and having stuff thrown on them. And even the thing, like, you know, like that guy literally pushing the scalding hot cup of tea or coffee or whatever the fuck it was onto her, like that happened to people too. Like, you know, I think there are like there is actually footage. I don't know if it's actual footage of back then, or if it's actually kind of different. I mean, I think or I don't know if it's like from documentaries or like from, you know, like a biopic movies made about those times, but there's actual footage of, like, you know, what the sit-ins were like and how they went down, and people literally being attacked with coffee and tea and other things and like food items and whatnot. So yeah, seeing her walk in for the first time, that definitely gave me anxiety. But again, important to remember, it was for a good cause, it was for a great cause, an important cause, a very, very important cause, so they had to go forward. And I liked that, like, even before that, like, Allison herself was fighting to keep the sit-in going forward. Allison was fighting as an organizer, as a member of that team, as an organizer, as a member of that force. She was fighting to keep it going, even in Ray's absence. She was still fighting to have it go forward. I think she even told Klaus about it. I like that she even addressed that to Klaus, the fact that she hasn't used her rumor since Vanya killed her, since Vanya actually attacked her and stuff. So and then even when she did, she couldn't talk for over a year, and she lost the ability to do the simplest kind of talking, even without using her powers. But then she got used to actually, she got used to, like, not only not talking but also not using her powers. But then even when she did get her voice back, she actually tried to do things without her powers. She tried to use her own human willpower and good force to actually fight the good fight. So I like that they're going down that path too. Like, this one, like, when she did use it, it was out of desperation. It wasn't because she wanted to, but it was out of desperation because things had actually gotten too violent to control, and she needed to find a way to save Raymond from being beaten to near death. So yeah, and then Raymond, he definitely reacted as about as reasonably as you can expect. He was just shocked and surprised, and he didn't know what to believe or what to think anymore. Like, he even mentioned, like, no black woman can, like, in that time, no black woman can tell a white police officer to actually walk away without even facing repercussions. Like, she did it, and he looked at her and then just walked away. He didn't even say anything. He had no response. He just had, like, those white eyes that people affected by her powers usually get, and then just walked away. So seeing that happen in a time like this would definitely raise more questions than answers, and it's exactly what Ray has, but to the point where he himself runs away. And then Klaus has to pull Allison out of the fray, out of the violence and everything. So yeah, just seeing all that stuff go down was just broke me. It broke me, and it was just hard to watch. But yeah, Ray still showed up. He got the phone call about the fact that it was still going forward, and then, despite everything that happened, despite being busted out of prison by Klaus and Ben. No, the way Ben busted Ray out of prison was super cool to see. He literally just threw a sandwich. I didn't know what it was for that. I didn't know what to think it was. I thought, I don't know. I mean, for some reason, I thought the milkman might have something to do with it. I thought the milkman or the handler might have something to do with it. But then, remembering this is to the normal human eye, this is an invisible person writing all these messages, and they're specifically telling the guy at the front desk to actually release Raymond. I was like, wait, who is invisible and would want Raymond released? Oh, that's right, Ben. Ben is invisible. He's connected to Klaus, and Klaus is connected to Allison. Allison wants to release. Okay, yes, so now that makes sense. So that was a really neat. That was a really neat trick. Just pretending to be a ghost or like an invisible force, just, demanding the release of Raymond Chestnut. So, and then Klaus obviously introducing him as his brother-in-law, and then warning him the family barbecues are about to get real trippy and everything. So yeah, so he's connected to the weirdest super family in America as of right now. So I look forward to seeing how he meets the rest of the family and how he actually gets along with them, and how he reacts to them. So yeah, that's big things. And Klaus found Dave. Yeah, I was confused about who the Dave guy was. I think his name rang a bell. I was like, it took me a while to get to it, even before they actually mentioned that he was a Vietnam fling. But I was wondering, wait, Dave sounds familiar. Like, did he not know, like, a Dave back in the war? Like he, because I remember, like, back in season 1, it was the thing that happened. Like, when he had the suitcase, he accidentally used it and then traveled back in time. But then he got transported back to the war, because then that was that whole opening, or like a portion of an episode where he actually walked into a veterans bar, but none of them believed he was a veteran because he looked too young to be one, too unrealistic to be one. But then they actually zoomed in on the photo. He was in there with Dave, and Dave was also his boyfriend during the Vietnam War. But then he lost Dave. He actually lost Dave in the war. So I was wondering, like, he knew a Dave. He actually met a Dave back in the war, and like things went wrong, and it was like connected to him going to that bar. So I was like, is it World War II? Because I think the Vietnam War didn't actually, strike my mind until they actually mentioned Vietnam fling. I was thinking, like, was he back in World War II, or was it, where was it? But then they mentioned the Vietnam fling. I was like, oh, I remember that episode. They actually showed us the flashbacks that he had and stuff like that. So yeah, so then I was wondering, but when I was thinking World War II, I was thinking, wait, so is this like Dave? Did Dave survive that war? Is it like did he have to leave Dave because of the culture, like because the DADT, or what happened? But no, he died in the Vietnam War. So this is, you know, before the Vietnam War. So yeah, so Klaus was there hunting him down before he even met him, before Dave even knew of his existence, and he was trying to save him from actually. I think he was trying to save him from actually enlisting, like because he enlisted. For the Vietnam War, so he figured that, you know, if he could save him by convincing him not to enlist for the war, then he could actually stop him from dying. But then that would mean that he never met Klaus because they met during the war. So yeah, that whole thing was a kind of trippy cycle of events in my head. But yeah, but then Ben mentions that, you know, this is basically pre-meeting, like pre-introductory stalking. It's like it's stalking him before he even knows who you are, before you even meet him. So, you know, stalking via time travel, which is just as bad as regular stalking. But yeah, I don't know what route they're gonna take that thing in. I don't know if because I have a feeling it might be a case of, you know, oh, Five finds out about that fling, and then he finds out from Ben as well, maybe that if he can communicate with Ben, he finds out that, you know, Dave is also someone that, you know, died in the war, but he's also the one that Klaus is trying to save. Then he might give Klaus a kind of talk on don't interrupt or change the timeline in any way. Like, you know, if he dies in the war, then he dies in the war. That's the way it has to be. Like, you know, he might try and he might have to fight to convince Klaus that that's the way it's got to be. And also the fact that, you know, like, you know, if he never meets you, then that stuff never happens. I think that was what was on my mind. Like, you know, so he's trying to save him from preventing him from enlisting in the war. But then if that happens, then he never meets Dave, and they never have that fling. And I mean, you know, depending on how much love he feels towards Dave, it might be his way of actually loving him to the full extent, like saving him from his own death. So yeah, so that's Dave. That's Dave, the guy who originally worked at the paint store and then goes to shooting people. So yeah, that was that. So I think we'll see more of that story being investigated further down the line. But yeah, that is pretty much all I can actually remember from this. Yeah, so looking forward to the next one. Looking forward to seeing how all of this stuff is continued. I think it's going at a good pace so far. It's going at a fairly good pace so far, especially the reunions. The reunions are going at a great pace, and how the reveals are going at a fairly comfortable pace. So seeing how this stuff all goes forward is going to be interesting to see, and how they actually combat this new apocalypse, and how, you know, different members of the family find out different things. But I think that's what I'm actually waiting for, to seeing all the siblings, all the family in one room, and maybe even with Reginald, if they can track down Reginald again without him actually threatening to kill or trying to kill one of his children, then, you know, that would be even better. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. And especially seeing how the Lila stuff affects this now going forward, knowing that she's the handler's daughter and everything else that goes on. So we'll have to wait and see. But that's pretty much all I've got. So that was the Umbrella Academy Season 2, Episode 3, titled The Swedish Job. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, then salt and burn that like button. Comment on what you thought of the episode and what you think is coming up next time on the Umbrella Academy. Once again, the full-length reaction for this episode will be over on Patreon, so you can go check that over there. And yeah, that is it. So, I will see you guys next time.